So we're now hearing from Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, who would stand next to Donald Trump every morning as Trump gave those weird press conferences, and he would look like the mannequin or a mannequin. It was unclear if he even moved from the afternoon before to the next morning. Anyway, there's an expression that you get the lawyer you deserve here. And for Donald Trump, I guess he gets Todd Blanche and Alina Habba. Now, I'm going to show you some of the clips from Todd Blanche's interview after Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts. And either Todd Blanche is just playing dumb, or I'll let you judge for yourself. But, Todd Blanche was asked here about why they didn't call certain witnesses. One of the things that Todd Blanche was complaining to the jury about during closing arguments, Todd Blanche was saying, the prosecution didn't call Eric Trump. The prosecution didn't call Don Jr. The prosecution didn't call all of these people. And here, when asked why he didn't call these people, Todd Blanche's response, and this is to Caitlin Collins on CNN, was because we live in America, that's why he didn't call certain witnesses for the defense case. But you called Robert Costello, the MAGA lawyer who collapsed on the stand and did horrible. So this is what does that even mean? Here, play this clip.
When he was leaving, one thing he brought up were the witnesses who were not called. And he was saying that there could have been witnesses that would have helped make the case. We never saw Keith Schiller, Alan Weisselberg, some key figures here who got brought up a lot. Why didn't the defense call any of these witnesses?
Well, because we happen to live in America and we don't have the burden of proof. And so there's not, that's not the point. That's a question that is a loaded question that should not be asked of a defense attorney or a defendant. The question that we asked the jury, and they ultimately obviously got passed, is why the prosecution didn't call those witnesses, right? You, as a defense attorney, you don't go into a case saying, I'm going to fill the holes of the prosecution, right? And Keith Schiller and some of the other witnesses that were not ultimately called, in our view, should have been called by the prosecution. And we asked the jury to take a hard look at that. I don't know whether they did or not, but they convicted.
Todd Blanche.
And then Todd Blanche was asked, and he was going on Fox and CNN, and he was asked on Fox if, and again, he's playing this up for Fox right here, if he believed Donald Trump got a fair trial before a fair and impartial jury. And here's what Todd Blanche's response is. Play this clip.
Did your client get a fair trial?
I mean, no. I don't think so. I mean, we've been saying for over a year that we couldn't get a fair trial in Manhattan. We couldn't get a fair trial with the judge, and it played out in lots of ways exactly as we expected.
And that's one of my issue with these MAGA lawyers, one of my big issues. Look, I don't fault criminal defense lawyers for representing people accused of crimes, even accused of very serious crimes. I think criminal defense lawyers play a very important constitutional function in our system to hold the prosecution to their burden of proof, to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the guilt of a criminal defendant. It's an important role. But the issue with these MAGA lawyers like Todd Blanche, Alina Habba, Rudy Giuliani and others is that they're ripping apart our constitutional structure. They're casting doubt on our judicial system. They're trying to undermine and destroy a system where there is a fair and impartial jury. Todd, you had the opportunity to select this jury in voir dire. You had the opportunity to call defense witnesses, which you did not. You called Robert Costello, the MAGA lawyer who lied on the stand and looked like a fool on cross-examination when Susan Hoffinger did a really good cross-examination. Donald Trump had the opportunity to testify. Donald Trump, if he wanted to, you know how Donald Trump whines, I should have done the advice of counsel defense. I'm being deprived of it. Donald Trump could have testified, invoked an advice of counsel defense if that's what he wanted to do. He would have had to testify and waive attorney-client privilege, and he could have admitted to the crimes and made that his defense, but that's not what he did. Donald Trump denied that anything took place with Stormy Daniels, that any of the facts that clearly happened, and in a court of law, the jury saw that. It's a good question that he was asked during the CNN interview, which is, why did Trump not take the stand, Todd? He said he was going to take the stand. He was bragging to the press, I'm going to testify. I'm going to testify. Listen to Todd Blanche's response. Play the clip.
Why did Donald Trump not ultimately take the stand here?
Well, that's a very personal question to him and to me, honestly. And it's a very difficult question. Of course, he wanted to testify. And I don't say that because that's what he has said. He wanted to get his story out. I think the judge had made some decisions before the trial or the day of the trial started about what would be allowed to be asked of him by the prosecutors if he took the stand. And some of those questions were really complicated to answer because there's still appeals going on. And so there's a lot of decision points that go into whether somebody testifies. Ultimately, it's his decision, and he listened to us and he relied on our counsel, and he reached a decision that he thought was right, which I very much agreed with.
So that means your counsel was for him to not take the stand.
I'm not going to tell you what my counsel was.
Well, you said he relied on counsel and he went with that decision and he didn't take the stand.
But ultimately, it was his decision. And I never say, and I think colleagues and folks that you have on here hopefully agree with me, I never say to somebody, don't take the stand, right? That's their decision, and that's a decision that they have to make. But I want them to have they want them to know what will happen on the good and the bad if they do take the stand. And
so no regrets on him not taking the stand?
Look, the verdict came down a couple hours ago. I don't know if I have any regrets about anything yet. I'm still thinking things through, and I think so is he, and so are everybody else around him. But at this point, I don't think that there was a conviction because he did not take the stand.
And here, I would just say fact check, clearly true. I don't think we need Snopes to have to fact check this the way Snopes fact checked that Donald Trump supporters are showing up to his events now wearing diapers to show support for him. I don't think you need a Snopes fact check here where Todd Blanche says that the way decisions were made was that every decision was made together with Donald Trump. Here, play this clip.
It is intentional. This is not America. And I'm speaking to MSNBC viewers and CNN viewers, the Rachel Maddows, the Caitlin Collins. It is time to come together because this administration does not care about us. They do not. They care about themselves.
They don't care either because they got what they wanted politically. And
that's right.
You know, for them, it doesn't matter. The ends justify the means.
So just take all of the crap that was just spewed by Trump's defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, and I want you to compare it to what Michael Cohen said during his interview with Rachel Maddow. By the way, Cohen's going to be back soon on Political Beatdown. Don't you worry. And by the way, the Mar-a-Lago correctional facility shirts at store.MeidasTouch.com that were an exhibit in this criminal trial are selling out. So make sure you check out the Mea Culpa Mar-a-Lago shirts on store.MeidasTouch.com. But Rachel Maddow asks Michael Cohen, were you surprised by the verdict? Listen to Michael Cohen's just calm response. Michael Cohen's an American hero right now. He was before, but right now I think we're all recognizing that. Here, play this clip.
Were you surprised by the verdict?
No, I was not. I've been on so many of the shows on here on MSNBC, and I've told you all along that the facts speak for themselves. The documents speak for themselves. I've listened to so many pundits come on the various shows, including some of the hosts talking about X, Y, and Z. They couldn't be further from the truth. And I would have conversation with my lawyer, Danya, on a regular basis. And I would say, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. How come they don't see the same things that we're seeing? I understand that it makes great headlines and so on, but the facts are the facts. And at the end of the day, the facts are what prevailed here.
Trade Coffee is changing the way you experience coffee at home. They continuously curate a wide variety of coffees that come from the best small batch specialty roasters in the US, then make personalized recommendations based on what you like or may like to try. Every bag is roasted to order and shipped fresh to you by one of their 50-plus partners. Midas Mighty, you know I am the resident coffee geek here at MeidasTouch, and I wouldn't put my stamp of approval on just any coffee, but I am always legitimately excited every time I see what Trade Coffee is sending me. From dark roast to decaf, espressos to cold brew and iced coffee, you can discover the best coffee suited to your taste. And with Father's Day and summer birthdays coming up, it's not too early to begin thinking of the perfect gift, and you can't go wrong with better coffee. coffee. I took the Trade coffee quiz, told it exactly what kind of coffee I like. Personally, I prefer light roast with bright, interesting flavors, and I've been blown away by every single bag they've sent me. Last week, they sent me a blend sourced from Colombia. Next week, I see on the website I'm receiving a single origin bag sourced from Kenya. This is as good as it gets, folks, and I never have to worry about running out to the store to get coffee. I always know it's going to be delivered straight to my door. Give Trade a try for a month and see how you can make better coffee at home. Right now, they're offering 30% off your first month of coffee when you visit drinktrade.com/Meidas. That's drinktrade.com/MEIDAS for 30% off a month of coffee. drinktrade.com/Meidas.
So you take that, what Michael Cohen said, and let's compare it to some of the MAGA lawyering right here. Here you have Alina Habba. I'm sorry I even have to show you this. But here Alina Habba's point on Fox is something that she's talking to MSNBC and CNN viewers, and they all support Donald Trump or something. I mean, it's just enough of this Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin propaganda. This is just, it's crazy stuff. Here, play this clip.
It is intentional. This is not America. And I'm speaking to MSNBC viewers and CNN viewers, the Rachel Maddows, the Caitlin Collins. It is time to come together because this administration does not care about us. They do not. They care about themselves.
They don't care either because they got what they wanted politically. And
that's right.
You know, for them, it doesn't matter. The ends justify the means.
Alina Habba says something about our country being in a serious state. Play this clip.
Our country is currently in a serious state, and we cannot look at this as anything other than a serious state of affairs where we have an issue, where people are using politics in the legal courtroom. It cannot happen anymore. I have seen it. I have been in court since October, trial after trial after trial. For 15 years, I have been practicing law. I have never seen anything like this in my life.
Then she wants to announce that she's voting for Donald Trump. Okay, Alina, we get it. You're at Mar-a-Lago, you're partying there every weekend. I get it. You and the MAGA crowd, you know, show up there and you live the high. We understand. We get it. Here, play this clip.
I want to also remind the American people of one thing. I am a legal spokesperson. I am also an American, and I will be voting for Trump, not because of President Trump, who I obviously support, but because I support America.
Here, Alina Habba claims that Judge Merchan covered his mouth during the verdict because he was smiling. Just make up lies. Play this clip.
Judge Merchan today watched my client. I watched him. I watched the jury say guilty 34 times, and I watched him. And he looked at my client, and he covered his mouth. And he covered his mouth probably because he was smiling.
This was funny, too, when she was announced by Hannity. Watch the kind of various actual slips or Freudian slips, or calls her the former spokesperson. He doesn't even know what he's saying. He can't even get a sentence together. Here, play the clip.
All right, here to react to today's verdict, former President Trump's legal spokeswoman. Well, not former. I mean, she's President Trump's legal spokesperson, Alina.
Back to Todd Blanche here for a moment. One of the things that Jesse Waters on Fox was saying to Todd Blanche is, they're laughing. How does that make you feel that you're being laughed at? Here, play this clip.
Could I ask Mr. Steinglass, many people said the prosecution was masterful and flawless. Just want to know how you feel at this moment. Sorry, I'll let you go. How do you feel?
Mr. Steinglass, I think some of you probably saw him speak for a little bit the other day. So he's done his job.
So the sense of what people are getting is this is a question from a reporter praising the prosecution. And then they're laughing, Todd. They're laughing. How does that make you feel?
Listen, they won today. They won today, and they're having their celebration, I'm sure, right now, and I suppose they're entitled to do that. I guess the way I would say about how it makes me feel is it kind of confirms the point in many ways, right? So the point that we've been saying, that this is not fair, this is not what what this country should be doing to its political leaders, past and present. And then when you see it happen and when you see it celebrated and you hear laughter from the reporters at somebody who's just been convicted of 34 felonies, you know, and I said this in the trial, but it's true. President Trump is an amazing man. He's president, he's running for president, and he has a public persona. He's also a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a friend to a lot of people. And so when you see that happen to him, and I was standing right next to him today, and it's heartbreaking because they're laughing at a man, at a father, at a husband, at a grandfather, and at somebody who's running for president and looks like will win. That's something that people should be troubled with.
You know, and as I said earlier in this video, you get the lawyer you deserve. These are the lawyers that Donald Trump deserves. By the way, you know who gets the Trump lawyer who exercised best judgment in 2024 award? Joe Tacopina, who ran the heck out of this defense team. Tacopina was the lead lawyer on this criminal defense team, and he quit after the first E. Jean Carroll verdict. And he said, I just can't do this anymore. And so the team was Todd Blanche, Susan Necklace, by the way, who you don't even ever hear from, and Emile Beauvais. You know, so I guess shout out to Joe Tacopina. Anyway, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Historic moments right now. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.